Welcome back to the Daily Buzz. Well, it looks like American Idol judge Randy Jackson, who, as you'll remember, was reportedly asked to step down from his judge post just last week, will indeed be rejoining the panel. It's just another twist on the summer's long-running Idol shake-up story. To clear up all the stories coming out of Team Fox, senior TV editor Jethro Nederdog, from New York City, Celeb Buzz staff editor Corey Lopez, and also from New York City, Huffington Post entertainment columnist Rob Shooter. Jethro, it looks like negotiations with Enrique Iglesias have stalled. He was reportedly offered $4 million. What went wrong?
I don't think it's the money. I think Enrique Iglesias is actually going to be known now as the guy who turned down The Voice, X Factor, and now American Idol. He's not in the market necessarily to be on a show. $4 million is a nice amount. It's not a huge amount for this kind of job nowadays. So I think that apparently, according to sources, it wasn't about the money. There were other things that fell apart for Enrique.
All right, and of course we do know that he is currently touring with Jennifer Lopez. She was on the panel last year. One could only wonder what she had to say to Enrique about possibly joining the panel. Rob, I guess because they couldn't get Enrique, they've told Randy to come back. I got to say to me, it sounds a little odd, doesn't it, that one week he was in, the next week he's out. What's the story? All right, doesn't look like we've got Rob Shooter there. Corey Lopez, are you there?
Yep.
Corey, so, what is it about Randy's popularity that says they can bring him back to the show?
Well, he's one of the original judges, and I think that it's the only way that they can keep some stability at this point, because everything else has been thrown out the window. So it might be a smart move to keep him around. Not to mention, he's friends with Mariah Carey, so that can't be a bad thing.
And Jethro, that's what it really is all about, isn't it? At one point, surely the executives must be thinking to themselves, we need to rebrand this entire show. And by getting rid of every existing judge, we can do that. But then on the other hand, they don't want to lose that loyalty that they have with an audience. So they regain that loyalty by keeping Randy Jackson. Is that a fair assessment?
I would say yes. They're not going to throw out everyone's used to, the fans are used to. It works two levels. Like Corey mentioned, he's friends with Mariah Carey. To treat him badly at this point would not be good for the relationship with Mariah Carey moving on with his show. So yeah, they got to keep him around.
Now, Corey, Simon Cowell actually tweeted in support of the decision to keep Randy. What did he say?
He said, I just heard that Randy is back on Idol. It's the right decision.
All right, Rob, we seem to have fired up the satellite and rejoined you there in your living room. Mariah Carey and Randy, as we know, are actually good friends. They go way back. Is this the right move to team them up?
I think it's really stupid. I think they've insulted Randy. You don't want someone on your panel that's sort of pissed off. Poor Randy was second best. It feels like being a bridesmaid, not the bride. And their first choice passes. The show starts in 2 weeks. So it's hell, we've got stuck with Randy. I think this is just a big mess that they've created themselves.
So if the panel, Rob, is Randy, Mariah, Nicki Minaj, and possibly country star Keith Urban, is this the show to beat, or is it a lost cause now for Idol, given the summer of turmoil?
Their numbers are so big. They're almost a failure of their own success. Idol, 5-10 years ago, was such a juggernaut. They're always going to be judged against Idol at its peak. Every show goes ups and downs. TV has changed significantly since this show debuted. They're still a monster hit, and they make millions of dollars for the network and everybody around the show.
Now, Jethro, you watched the season 3 premiere of The Voice last night. I've got to say I did too. I thought it was on song. Can Britney take over from Christina?
I think there's going to be a lot of interest in Britney coming in. Christina, we've kind of known now for going to 3 seasons, but I think Britney is going to give them some ratings for a few weeks.
Now, Rob, Simon Cowell is one man who is very upset on the eve of his premiere. What's got on his goat? Well, The Voice has added a 3rd episode this week to air the same time as the X Factor premiere. He called it a gentleman's agreement. Apparently, though, that agreement has been broken. Does Simon have a point?
No, it's like a baby crying. Grow up, Simon. It's really tough in TV Be a big boy. You can win this. Go out there. If your show is as good as you have been telling us it is over and over and over, Simon, then let the show stand for itself. If this show is fantastic, people will find it.
Well, I think they will find the X Factor this year. I, for one, think that they have formed a terrific panel, and I am looking forward to attending the premiere tonight here in Los Angeles, as I know you are too, J-Dog. And finally, those boy bands, The Wanted and Simon Cowell's One Direction, are at it again. And this time, The Wanted appeared on a radio show, and when talking about their new single, one member of the band said, "We try not to be stereotypical." Now, Corey Lopez, was that a slam at 1D?
It sure seems like it. I mean, they may not have intentionally said it. It probably just slipped out right there. But there is definitely an unspoken rivalry going on there. And they're both releasing their singles within the next 2 months. So we're going to see how that plays out.
Rob Shooter, is One Direction just sore losers? Because as we know, Harry Styles actually fired back on Twitter, and he said that the boys should not have done what they did. So I got to say, is One Direction simply a sore losing band?
No, they're marketing geniuses. They have a record coming out. We're all talking about them. This goes back as long as there has been boy bands and singers. This has been going on a long time. Remember when Debbie Gibson and Tiffany were fighting?
No, you're showing your age. You're showing your age, Rob Shooter.
It was a reference for you, Dylan.
Who do you prefer, Rob? The Wanted or One Direction?
I don't know the difference. If they were
Come
all
on, give me a few bars of a song.
I like Barry Manilow.
You do, don't you? Because he actually penned the intro to your song. Your show. Yes.
He wrote my theme song, naughty but nice.
It's a little sad that I know that, isn't it? Jethro, can't these guys just all get along like Rob and I do?
I hope not. I hope they just keep jabbing at each other. I mean, like Rob said, it wouldn't be boy bands or pop bands if they didn't have some sort of rivalry going on.
And of course, the bottom line here is that these bands feuding back and forth only adds to their popularity. Well, thank you all for joining us today. To Jethro, Netadog, Corey Lopez and Rob Shooter, thank you very much for your time. And for more on these stories and all the other Hollywood headlines, head on over to the website celebbuzz.com. When we come back, we're taking you to Will and Kate's deserted island paradise. Come with us.